Om Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the study of Yogasutras. We had 2 classes so far. In the first class, I gave an introduction to the Yoga Sutras, the historicity and what is its place in the, or rather among the philosophical schools in our Indian thought. And in the second class, we started the first sutra, that is Atha Yoga Anushasana. And that one sutra only took the entire class. So it covered the entire class. Then now we have to go to the second sutra. In the first sutra, what did we see? Patanjali, he defined what yoga is. That is yoga, Patanjali did not say Atha Yoga Anushasana. Patanjali simply said Atha Yoga Anushasana. Now I am going to commence yoga. And Anushasanam also, he said Anushasanam, I am not the propounder of this, I am not the originator of this. This is an ancient tradition which I am following, which I am teaching, which I am imparting to you. In that parampara, Guru Shishya parampara. One teaches the other, one teaches the other. So parampara. So param is the other person. Paramparam is one person teaching the other person. So in that fashion. And in the Vyasa Bhashya, he introduced the word yoga. What is this yoga? He explained what is that yoga. He said yoga samadhi. He said samadhi means where the mind is actually focused on a particular thing. Mind is focused samyak adhiyate manaha. That is, the mind is focused on a particular object. On some object, you choose some object, maybe something divine or maybe something mundane, something whatever you want to have. And then you concentrate on that. So that is what is samadhi, he said. Then he also talked about various states of mind. That is, sometimes the mind is tossed about, sometimes it is slightly concentrated, sometimes it is so deluded, and sometimes it is having some focus. It is capable of concentrating on a particular object, etc. So there are various states of mind. So these states of mind were described by Vyasa. And Vyasa, we saw he is not the same sage Vyasa who wrote Mahabharata or classified the Vedas. He is some other Vyasa. Then he also talked about how there are 2 levels of yoga, he said. One particular level in which the object on which you are focusing, that object is very well illumined. So what is that? Samprajnata, he said. Samprajnata, that is very well illumined, very well known. Suppose you are doing meditation on, say, for example, Pancha Kosha Viveka or Pancha Bhuta Viveka. Pancha Kosha Viveka means we know that the body, we talk about the 5 sheaths of the body, the gross body, and then the pranic body, the mind body, the ego body, etc. And the pleasure body. There are 5 levels, Anandamaya Kosha. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. That is, of course, Vedantic terms. But here again, there is similar dhyana, Savitarka, Savichara, etc. he is going to say. In fact, he also mentioned those things. And he said, Ekagre Chetasi, in that focused state of mind, where you attain a particular level called Samprajnata. Samprajnata is you are knowing the reality at a sort of intellectual level. You are knowing that reality at an intellectual level, and you are also conscious of your own self, and then you are seeing it as an object of knowledge. So where that object of knowledge is very much available. So that is what is Samprajnata. Then he also talked about, Vyasa also told about the next level, that is Asamprajnata. That is where even that particular vritti, Chitta vritti also he said, Chitta vritti, he also used that term. That is, when I look at an object, my mind assumes the shape of that particular object. And that is called Chitta vritti. When I am looking at a pen or something else, some object in front of me, my mind occupies that particular shape. So my mind, for that moment, it is in that form. So the mind is modified. So that modification of the mind, that is called Chitta vritti. And in the yoga philosophy and also in the Vedanta, the mind is what is called insentient or jada. Mind is insentient. It is not so in other schools of philosophy, but in Vedanta and also in yoga and Sankhya, it is the insentient thing. So, because mind itself is insentient, any modification of mind, what we call chitta vritti, is also insentient, what is called jada. Chitta vritti is also jada. And why this change is happening? That is because of the illumining of the consciousness. Consciousness is what illumines the mind. And when consciousness illumines the mind goes to the external objects. The mind, through the sense organs, it reaches out to the external objects, cognizes the external objects. So that sort of modification takes place in the mind. And one modern writer gives a very good example for that. The ancient writers did not know the photographic film. Now, one modern writer, I was referring to the book of Edwin Bryant. Edwin Bryant gives the example of a photographic film. And when the light falls on that undergoes change. So the mind is something similar to that photographic film, which undergoes change when light falls on it. So it is a much easier example in order to understand the nature of the mind, the constitution of the mind, the nature of the mind. Then he also mentioned those four names, Vitarka, Vichara, etc. We will see them in future. Right now, we will not go into details. So that is where that first sutra ended. Now we have to come to the second sutra. For the second sutra, there is an avataric. I will share the screen. Yeah, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. This is the first sutra. We completed this sutra. Now we have to come to the second sutra. There is a small introductory line. What is that? Tasya lakshanabhiditsaya idam sutram pravavrute. Lakshanabhiditsayedam. I think I have to break this also. Next time I will break it also. Lakshana abhiditsaya. Lakshana means definition. Yoga, he has to define. What is that yoga? He has to define. So Lakshanam means yoga. Lakshanam means a definition. There are two words called Lakshanam and Lakshana. Lakshana is something different. Lakshana means a figurative meaning. When you say Lakshana, Vachyartha, Lakshyartha, etc. Lakshana, when we say, it gives a different meaning. Whereas Lakshanam means a definition. Lakshana abhiditsaya. Abhiditsa means intending to tell. Abhidhatum ichha abhiditsa. That is in order to tell, with an intention to give the definition. So that is the overall meaning. Abhiditsaya idam sutram pravavrute. This sutra has come out. Yogasutta vritti nirodhaha. This is a very, very famous sutra. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodhaha. Chitta vrittinam nirodhaha. That is the stoppage or cessation of all mental activity. Chitta vritti, I just explained to you very briefly. Chitta vritti is that modification of mind. Chittam is different and chit is different. Here, of course, we have to know these terms also. Chit means what we call that pure intelligence, pure consciousness. That is chit shakti, as we say. Chit shakti chetana rupa, jada shakti jadatmaja, lalita sahasranama, people say. So that chit shakti, that chit is that consciousness. Whereas chittam is that what we can call individuated consciousness, as one writer says. It is that individuated consciousness is chittam, whereas chit is something different. Chit is that eternal consciousness, that infinite consciousness is that chit, and chittam is that which is reflecting in the. It is not as though that consciousness is broken into pieces and it is in the form of chittam. It is not like that. Chittam again is jadam. We have to constantly remember that. And chittam, what is called mind, is jadam. And that consciousness which is reflecting in this particular chittam, that individual chittam, and getting associated with that, and something feeling that, yes, this is my form, etc. It is getting confused. So that particular consciousness which is associated or delimited by that particular chittam, by that mind, that is called what is called in Vedanta we call it jiva. Here, of course, here also we call it individual person. Here also we call it person. So chittam is that particular insentient aspect of the human being or any living being, which is capable of reflecting that particular consciousness. So that is Chittam. We can't even say individuated consciousness. It looks like an individuated consciousness because consciousness cannot be broken into pieces. So yoga, chitta vritti nirodha. So various modifications of mind, these have to be stopped. And why are these modifications caused? Even the earlier sutra, Vyasa was referring to the three gunas, the sattva guna, rajo guna, and tri guna. So the entire prakriti is consisting of these three gunas. And these three gunas, they basically constitute our mind. And because of these gunas, the mind is running about various things. Even in sattva guna, even in this sattva guna, the mind is running about so many good things. I want to do this good thing. I want to do that good thing. I want to study this. I want to study that book. I want to teach this. I want to do something like that. Or somebody who is having money, he may be doing, okay, I will build this particular institution. I will do this. I will do that, etc. These are all the sattvika vrittis. Rajasa vritti is where somebody is doing it for one's own selfish reasons. I want to aggrandize myself. I want to become rich. I want to do this. I want to achieve this, etc., etc. Tamasa can be both in the form of dullness or in the form of some foolhardy adherence to certain ideas, some dangerous ideas sometimes. That tamo vritti manifests in different ways. Like sattva vritti also manifests in different ways, and rajoguna also manifests in different ways. And it is because of the interplay of these three gunas. And these three gunas, they are there in every being. It is not as though a particular person is 100% sattva or 100% rajas. There is some portion of sattva, rajas, and tamas in every being, not only human being, but in all the living beings, in all the beings, in plants, everything, in everything in the universe. It is a constitution of, or it is a combination of these three gunas. So here, let us see yoga chitta. Let us go through the commentary. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Tentatively, we'll say that, okay, it is the cessation of all particular activity. The mind is jumping like a monkey. It is like controlling a monkey or like training a monkey. Some of us, we know dog training, but we don't know monkey training. But in our country, we see that there are so many people on the streets. We see occasionally, we see people who, at least, a few years ago, we used to see them on the streets. Somebody brings a monkey and makes it jump and then makes it do so many tricks. So this controlling the mind is like that, like controlling that monkey. So here let us see the commentary. Sarva Shabda Agrahanat. Sarva Shabda Agrahanat means Sarva iti Shabdaha na gruhitaha. That is, the word Sarva is not mentioned while he defined this word Chitta Vritti Nirodha. He did not say Yogaha Sarva Chitta Vritti Nirodha. He did not say. Yoga, he simply said Chitta Vritti Nirodha. You stop, or rather you ensure that Chitta Vrittis are absent. So then he did not say Sarva Chitta Vritti. So which means there is some scope for some type of Chitta Vrittis to be present, to be qualified as yoga, or to qualify itself to be called as yoga. So Sarva Shabda Agrahanat, because in this definition does not say yoga Sarva Chitta Vritti Nirodha, it does not say yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Because it is not taken, then Agrahanat means because it is not taken. Samprajnataha api yoga ityakhyayate. This Samprajnata, I said sam plus pra plus jnata. Jnata means known. Prajnata means well known. Samprajnata is very, very well known. Suppose I am doing, this is something similar to Shravana Manana Nididhyasana in Vedanta. You are contemplating on the nature of reality, and you have understood it, very clearly understood it at the intellectual level. So that is at that intellectual level. And that is what is Samprajnata. And at that intellectual level, when you understand it, then after some time, that vritti also drops away according to Vedanta. And yoga tells exactly the same thing. So yoga also tells that vritti also, it is a sattvika vritti, what we call a khandakara vritti in Vedanta. Here this samprajnata knowledge, and this is something almost similar to that. And this samprajnata also is also a sattvika vritti. And this sattvika vritti means something which is activated by sattva guna. I think I need not repeat what is sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna. Sattva, rajoguna, we have some idea. So this sattvika vritti also has to disappear. So the samprajnatah api yoga ityakhyayate. So we can say we can have to include this samprajnata also in the category of yoga, because that is a sort of a necessary stage in order to go to the next level. Because without understanding it, without having clarity of thought, you can't experience it, isn't it? So once you have that clarity of thought, that is that nididhyasana level, Shravana, Manana level, and also nididhyasana level. So once you have that clarity over it, then after some time, after practice, even that vritti drops away. So that is the point. Asampragnatah api yoga ityakhyayate. Akhyayate means it is told. Chittam hi prakhya pravrutti sthiti shilatvat trigunam. So he is explaining now. Chittam he means because. Chittam hi because. Prakhya, chittam, this mind, which is again the insentient thing, but it is capable of reflecting that consciousness. So that is the peculiar nature of that chittam. Then prakhya, pravrutti, sthiti-shilatvat. Prakhya-shilam, pravrutti-shilam, sthiti-shilam. So we have to break like that. Prakhya-shilam means, khya means intelligence, that is knowing. Prakhya, khyati, we know the khyati word, khyati is knowing. Prakhya means it is capable of receiving, it is capable of knowing, it is capable of analyzing. And so a mind sometimes is so clear and it is capable of analyzing, capable of understanding, capable of learning. So that is that prakhya rupa. And sometimes it is pravrutti shilam. Pravrutti shilam means you are not, sometimes we are not interested in studying any serious thing. We are interested in doing, achieving something. And that is pravrutti shilam. And sthiti shilam. Sthiti shilam is being static. Sthiti is similar to static. Static, sthadhatu. Sthadhatu in Sanskrit. It is cognate with the English root, English stay and stha. Station, sthanam, they are cognate words. So sthiti shilatvat. Sthiti shilam means just to be stationed where you are, just supine. And that is sthiti shila. Sthiti shila. Prakhya shila, pravrutti shila, and sthiti shilatvat. Three gunam. It is three types. It is of three types, these three gunas in different proportions. They mix up and constitutes the personality of every being. Then prakhya rupam hi chitta sattvam rajas tamobhyam samsrustam aishwarya vishaya priyam bhavati. Prakhya rupam hi chitta sattvam. Chitta sattvam is that material of that mind. Chitta sattvam. Chitta sattvam is that sattva guna which has taken the shape of that chitta, or which is predominant in that chitta. Chitta sattvam. That sattva guna which is predominantly present in that chittam. Prakhya rupam, which is in the shape of analyzing things, understanding things, etc. Rajas tamobhyam samsrustam. Samsrustam is mixed up. It is mixed up with rajas and tamas. Sattva is dominant, no doubt. But at the same time, rajas and tamas are also there in that chittam, to some fairly dominant degree. That's what we have to see, because it is not as though rajas is 1% and the tamas is 1%. This rajas and tamas are also present to a fair degree, though sattva guna is dominating. Then what happens to that person? Rajas tamobhyam samsrustam aishwarya vishaya priyam bhavati. Aishwaryam. Aishwaryam, what is Aishwaryam? Ishwarasya bhavaha Aishwaryam. Ishvaraha means Ishaha. Isha means the root meaning Isha means one who lords over. Ishte, that is Ishaha. Ishaha is the Ishwarasya bhavaha. That is, I want to achieve this, I want to get this, I want to have this. So that the tendency to dominate, tendency to achieve, all these worldly achievements. Aishwaryam here, we can include all types of worldly achievements. It does not mean, it doesn't have any negative connotations, only positive connotations. That Aishwarya, I want to achieve, I want to do this, I want to lord over, I want to become a leader or something like that. Aishwarya Vishaya Priyam, it tends to love, or it seeks. Vishaya Priyam is it seeks that Aishwarya, it tends towards that Aishwarya. Aishwarya Vishaya Priyam Bhavati. Then Tadeva Tamasanuviddham. Tamasa Anuviddham. Adharma, here you have to see the whole line. Tamasanuviddham adharma jnana vairagyana aishwaryopagam bhavati. So that is how it is. The entire thing is, it has become a, all words are mixed up. too much of sun, too many sandhis here. Here, if you see, if you break this line, tamasa anuviddham. Anuviddham is that which is where that tamoguna is dominant. That mind where that tamoguna is dominant. Tamasa anuviddham. Adharma, anuviddham plus adharma becomes anuviddham adharma. Anuviddham, adharma, ajnana, avairagya, anaishwaryopagam bhavati. So when the mind is, when the tamoguna is dominant, then what happens? Adharma. Adharma means the mind moves towards very unrighteous, adharmic type of activities. We have some rough idea about what is dharma and what is adharma. Dharma is, to translate in a very, very loose manner, it is righteousness or right conduct. Adharma. Then ajnana, not interested in seeking knowledge, etc. Then anaishwarya. Anaishwarya means here with that state of mind, whatever endeavor, it is not that he seeks anaishwarya. It is not as though a person with the tamoguna seeks anaishwarya. Nobody speaks anaishwarya. Nobody seeks anaishwarya. So here that is the reason why the commentators have pointed out that whatever he takes up, it will be a failure. Anaishwarya upagam bhavati. Whatever he takes up, they automatically become failure, because his mind is filled with ajnana and ajnana, adharma. So his achievements also will be not great. Anaishwarya upagam. Upagam means moving towards. Anaishwarya upagam. Upa means samipa. Upagachati. Upagati. That is moving towards, tending towards those things. So when the mind is dominated by tamoguna, it is moving towards all these adharma, ajnana, avairagya, etc. Yeah, avairagya also is there. Avairagya, I missed that word. Avairagya, ajnana, avairagya. What is this vairagyam? Raga means attachment. Raga, it has got, of course, several meanings. Of course, when I sing, it is also called a raga. And ranjanat ragaha. Ranjanam means coloring. Ranjanam. Rakta, ranjanam. Ranjanam actually means coloring. Ranjanat raga, that also is there. So the mind actually colors things. So raga, or raga is attachment. I like it, I don't like it. So an object in creation is totally neutral. In Panchadashi, we have seen that Ishvara Srushti is absolutely neutral. Jiva Srushti, you are making it good, bad, you are calling it ugly, you are calling it something else, you are labeling it. This labeling is done by the human being. And this labeling is what is called Ishvara, Jiva Srushti. So this labeling is what is called raga. The mind actually is labeling. The mind is giving some, making some value judgments on that. I like it, this is good, this is bad, etc., etc. So raga is that, attachment. Vigataha ragaha yasmat, that is one who is able to rise above those things and one who is able to see dispassionately, that is viraga. Who is able to see, look at a thing, analyze a thing totally dispassionately. There is no raga, dvesha. He rises above those things and he examines those things. That is viraga. And viraga also means vairagyam. Vairagyam also means viragasya bhavaha vairagyam. That is to be a viraga, continuing that state, it is called, that particular state is called vairagyam. So vairagyam also means not throwing away all things. Suppose vairagyam, somebody, oh, he is a viragi. It does not mean that you throw away all your things and go and stay in some hut in some forest or something like that. Vairagya means you are not dependent on that. You may be having certain things around you, but then your mind is not dependent on them. What we call the dependency syndrome. The dependency syndrome is not there. We are not dependent. You are free. Internally, you are absolutely free. You may be having your family, you have your wife, children, etc. But then you are anapekshaha, shuchir dakshaha, like Gita says, anapekshaha, there is no great expectation. You don't want them to stick to your rule. You don't want them to listen to you. So anyway, so you are vairagya. Vairagya is that viragasya bhavaha, not having that attachment, deep attachment. That is vairagya. Avairagya. So this means tamas, when tamoguna is there, there is avairagya. I am sticking on to them, and then there are so many expectations from them, and I have got so much of attachment. So that is avairagya. Then anaishwaryopagam bhavati. Then tadeva, tat, here tat means we are referring to that chittam only. Tadeva prakshina mohavaranam sarvatah pradyotamanam. We have to break here. Sarvatah pradyotamanam anuviddham rajomatraya. This is one clause. Anuviddham rajomatraya dharma jnana vairagya aishwaryopagam bhavati. So then tadeva prakshina mohavarana. Moha or modatvam is due to what? Modatvam is due to tamoguna only. When tamoguna becomes prakshina, kshina means it becomes weak. Prakshina, very weak. Pra is only an upasarga which adds to the root meaning of that word. The root is kshina, chayate, chaya means decline. Prakshina means when that moha varanam totally declines. Moha avaranam. Avaranam means it is a sort of veil, V-E-I-L veil, which covers us, or rather covers the object, not us. Okay, you can also say covers us, covers the object. When the object is covered, you are not able to see the truth. Prakshina, that moha varanam is there. The truth is not revealed because of this deluded thinking, because of wrong thinking, because of this attachment, because of my raga, dvesha, etc. I am not able to see a thing dispassionately. So prakshina mohavaranam, when that mohavaranam, that veil called, what can we say, delusion, that veil of delusion is removed, or rather when it is weakened, then sarvatah pradyotamanam, and now it is illumining all over. Pradyota. Dyotanam means what? Dyotanam means illumining. Pradyotamanam. But at the same time, anuviddham rajomatraya, a little bit of rajoguna is also there. Anuviddham is that is hit by or afflicted by or attached with. We can also say attached. Vedhanam actually means piercing. Viddham means pierced. Vedhanam, shabda vedhi we say. Vedhanam means you listen to that sound and shoot an arrow. That's Vedhanam. What is that? Atmanam, what is that? Onkara, Pranavo dhanuhu. What is that? Vidhi, that Upanishad says, Pranavo dhanuhu, that mantra, I suddenly forget. So where you shoot your mind, you have to go and stick into that. That apramattena vedhavyam, then Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet, something like that. Something like that is there. What is that? You have to mix in that Atma. This mind has to go and hit that particular thing. That is Vedhanam. Here, Anuviddham means it is not exactly hitting. We can say it is associated with, coupled with a little bit of Rajomatraya. Then when this Moha Avaranam is there, Moha Varanam is gone, Prakshina, very finely, it has been subdued, very well it has been subdued. Then Rajo Matra also is there. Then what happens to that person? He moves towards Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Aishwarya. So opposite of these things, Adharma, Jnana, Avairagya, and Aishwarya. For that it is opposite. When that delusion, that Tamoguna is not there, Dharma means various characteristics which are associated with Dharma, like Ahimsa, Satyam, Santushti, etc. All these things, Sattva Gunaha. All these gunaha which are associated with sattva, all these things that they are covered by this word called dharma. Dharma, jnana, vairagya, aishwaryopagam bhavati. Vairagya I just explained. Aishwarya also I just explained. Aishwarya is that ishwarasya bhavaha, aishwaryam. So the basic point here is, we have to note here is that sattva guna is something which has to be cultivated, because sattva guna is the thing which helps us, or rather which is conducive for attaining that samadhi, initially that samprajnata samadhi, and thereafter that asamprajnata samadhi. Without that sattva guna, it is not possible. When the mind is having all that rajoguna and tamoguna tendencies, so that is the reason why yoga and also Vedanta talk about so much of ethical preparation. We have read Gita. In that Gita also we have seen we have to initially do that karma yoga. Then again you have to come to this Atma Sanyam Yoga, then you come to this Dhyana Yoga, then go to Bhakti Yoga. So many steps it says, all that is a sort of ethical purification to remove all the impurities of the mind. Impurities of the mind, this Raga, Dvesha, etc., etc. and also all these Rajoguna tendencies and all the Tamoguna tendencies have to slowly disappear because they are part of our personality. And very consciously we are trying to change them. We are trying to change our personality. Very consciously we are trying to drive away all the bad samskaras. Very consciously we are trying to acquire new samskaras. And when can new samskaras come? Only when you follow a particular disciplined path. Like good money drives away the bad money, or vice versa, something the economists say, bad money drives away good money or something like that. So the mind has to be filled with more and more good juice so that the world impure things have to go away. The mind has to be filled with some pure substance so that the impurities will slowly go away. So that is what is the drill we have to do. We hear in the yoga everywhere, particularly yoga is very popular because this is something which is easier. In fact, if you want to do karma, I was just reading somewhere, if you want to do karma, you need so much of equipment, you need so much of paraphernalia, you need some pujari, you need some archakas, all those people have to come, recite mantras and all that. And yoga, why did yoga become popular with very ordinary people? Because it doesn't need anything. You just sit, you go to somewhere, you go to some outskirts of the town or village, sit there under a tree and then do some meditation. The mind is purified. So that is the reason why yoga is a common man's path for purification. So anyway, Prakshina Mohavaranam, Pradyotamanam, Anuviddham Rajomatraya. But a Rajomatra is there. So that is the reason why it is also moving towards Dharma. I have to do this, I have to conduct myself in a righteous manner. And Jnana, acquire Jnana, Vairagya, Aishwarya. So what is this Aishwarya? It is not the earlier Aishwarya. When that Chittam, Rajomatra, only when Rajoguna was dominant, that also went towards Aishwarya. Aishwarya Vishaya Prayam Bhavati. So this Aishwaryam is different from this Aishwaryam. What is this Aishwaryam? Earlier Aishwaryam, Rajastamobhyam Samsrushtam Aishwarya Vishaya Prayam Bhavati. I want to achieve, I want to do this, I want to do that, etc. So this Aishwaryam is something different. Ishwarasya Bhavaha means, without anything I am Lord unto myself. That is Ishwarasya Bhavaha. Then I am free, and I am a free man without anything. Anapekshaha, Shuchihi, Dakshaha, totally self-reliant. In this context, we can also read that Emerson's essay called Self-Reliance. So in fact, he was so deeply influenced by Vedantic philosophy. So he wrote that thing called Self-Reliance. And of course, basing on that only, now people talk about that individualism, etc., etc. Anyway, that self-reliance by Emerson, suddenly it came to my mind. So here, this Aishwarya is something different. And in our puja also, if you remember that when you do that Devatarchana, we recite one line, Samrajyam, Bhojyam, Swarajyam, Vairajyam, Parameshtyam, Rajyam, etc. We say, what is that Rajyam? You are not asking for Rajyam. Initially, when I read that mantra, I was wondering, why are we asking for Samrajyam, etc., etc.? Samrajyam, what is this Samrajyam? Swayam Rajate iti Samrat. I may not have anything, but then I am so happy. Swayam Rajase. I am very happy with what I am. I am very happy with my sattvika feelings, whatever I have. So that is Samrajyam. So that sort of Aishwarya Upagam Bhavati. Dharma, Jnana, Vairagya, Aishwarya, Upagachyati. It is moving towards that. Aishwarya Upagam Bhavati. Then,
Mr. Basavaraju has given the shloka here in the chat box.
Okay.
Pranabodhanusharo hyatma brahmatallakshyamuchyate.
Brahmatallakshyamuchyate apramattena vedavyam sharavat. What is the last line?
Yeah. Apramattena vedavyam sharavat mayo bhavet.
Yeah. Pranabodhanuhu sharo hyatma. Not Shara. Pranabodhanuhu. What is the next thing?
Sharo hyatma.
Shara.
Shara.
Shara is not Atma. Pranabodhanu Sharo Hyatma.
Brahmatallakshyamuchyate.
Yeah, Sharo, yeah, Shara is Atma means self, our self. Brahma is the target. Brahma is the target. You have to hit the target called Brahma. Sharavat Kamayo Bhavet. So like the Shara goes and pierces that Brahma. It has to pierce. So that is piercing is that Vedanam. So here, let us see. Tadeva Rajo Leshamala Petam. Rajo Lesha. The little bit of Rajo Lesha. Rajo Lesha Mala Apetam. Apetam means devoid of. That means even that Rajo Lesham also is not there. Rajo Lesham, even a little bit of Rajas, it causes some Malam. Malam means some attachment. Malam means some impurity. What is that impurity of mind? Some little bit of attachment. Even the Dharma or Jnana, Aishwarya, etc., etc. Rajo Lesham Alapetam, even that Rajo Lesham also is not there. Then Swarupa Pratishtham. Swarupa Pratishtham means you are knowing about, you are trying to contemplate on your own nature. Swarupa. What is my real nature? Who am I in that Swarupa? And you are intellectually in that level. Swarupa Pratishtham. It is Pratitishthati. That means you are established in that. Swarupa Pratishtham. Sattva Purusha Anyata Khyati Matram. This is the word which you repeatedly get in yoga. Sattva Purusha Anyata Khyati Matram. You see, Sattva means what? Sattva means one's own self. That is what we call Chitta. Sattva is Chitta. That is again insentient. Buddhi is something which is Jada. Then Purusha is Chetana. This is Jada Chetana. Sattva Purusha, for these two words, you understand it as Jada and Chetana. Jada Chetana. Anyata Khyati. Anya means separate. Anyata means separateness. Anyata Khyati means knowledge of the separateness. Anyata Khyati Matram. That is a knowledge of the separation or distinction. Let us say distinction. Knowledge of the separation or distinction between Sattva and Purusha. That is, Buddhi is something different. Consciousness is something different. That is, mind is something different and consciousness is not something different. So this particular Khyati means knowledge. Khyati Matram. Dharma Megha Dhyanopagam Bhavati. It is moving towards a particular, it is tending toward Upagam, Upagachati. And again and again, this word also is coming. Upagam means Upagachati, it moves towards. What is that? Moves towards Dharma Megha Dhyana. So here, what have we achieved here? Rajo Lesha Malapetam, even that Rajo Guna is not there. The earlier line, that Rajo Guna, a little bit of Rajo Guna was there. Anuviddham Rajo Matraya, that Rajo Matra was there. Dharma Jnana Aishwarya Upagam Bhavati, there it was there. But here even that Rajo Lesham also is not there. Even that is a malam. Even you want knowledge, you want to achieve, you want to do some all righteous action, etc. Even that is some little bit of malam. So here, Swarupa Pratishtham. Then you are concentrating or deliberating on what is your real nature. Then Sattva Purusha Anyata Khyati Matram. So you are intellectually, we are talking about the Samprajnata level. What is that intellectual level? Sattva Purusha. Sattva is Buddhi, Purusha is consciousness, intelligence. Anyata Khyati, the knowledge of the distinction between these two. This moves towards Dharma Megha Dhyana. This Dharma Megha Dhyana again is an intellectual, very interesting word which we get in Yogasutras. Dharma Megham. Megham gives rain. We know that Megha is cloud. Cloud gives rain. So this rains Dharma. That means wherever such a person is there, so all around there is Dharma. So we see in our stories, sometimes we see that, okay, the king goes to a particular ashrama, he goes to Vasishtha ashrama. There is no such thing as a wild animal. All the animals, they have lost that sense of himsa. Even the wild animals, what we call carnivorous animals, even those carnivorous animals are friendly with the deer and all that. So deer and some of the tiger will be just staying together. They have Vaira Tyagaha. Patanjali is going to say, in the presence of such a person, all of us, we are so impressed. Maybe sometimes we also get that feeling. We go to a very great ashrama. We go to some place where some great rishis have done some tapas, etc. So then we also get some pious feelings. So that is the Dharma Megha. We don't feel like doing certain things. Dharma Megha. That is Dharmam Mehati. Mehanam means raining. Dharmam Mehati iti Dharma Megha. That is, it is raining. It is like when you go to, as I said, that Rishi Ashrama, deer and all the animals also, wild animals also will be playing together. So it's like that. Dharma Megha Dhyana Upagam Bhavati. That is Dharma Jnana. Dharma Megha Dhyanam is what he is referring to, that Asamprajnata level. He is referring to that Asamprajnata. So the first thing is Samprajnata. I suppose you are able to see the cursor. So if you are seeing the cursor, Sattva Purusha Anyata Khyati Matram, that is at intellectual level. But that is not the final. It is moving towards Dharma Megha Dhyana. That is what he says. Dharma Megha Dhyana Upagam, towards. So what is that Dharma Megha Dhyanam? That is that, what is that Asamprajnata? That is the next level called Asamprajnata. Dharma Megha Dhyana Upagam Bhavati. Tat Param Prasankhyanam Ityachakshate Dhyayanaha. That is, this Sattva Purushanyata Khyati. Again, he has come back to that Sattva Purushanyata Khyati. So that is that highest level of, that is the highest intellectual level. Param Prasankhyanam. Sankhyanam is knowledge. Prasankhyanam Ityachakshate Dhyayanaha. That is Dhyayanaha means Yoginaha. That is the people who meditate. All these people who do meditate, practice meditation, they say that this Sattva Purushanyata Khyati, that is the knowledge of the difference between the Sattva and Purusha, knowledge difference between mind and matter. That is something which is the highest level of that intellectual level. Highest level where there is that objective knowledge is there. He is still aware of himself, and then that objective knowledge is very much there. So that is the highest level. Now he is coming to what is called Purusha. He is coming to what we call Purusha, or pure consciousness. Here, Chiti Shakti Aparinamini. Chiti Shakti Aparinamin Yaprati Sankrama. It is there, but we have to split it. Chiti Shakti means what we call Chit. I explained to you that Chit is different from Chittam. Chit means the pure consciousness. What is called Chit Shakti? Chit Shakti Chetana Rupa, that's what I said. So that is the Chiti Shakti. That is pure consciousness. Chiti Shakti, that consciousness, in yoga parlance, we have to call it Purusha. Yoga parlance, we call it Purusha. In Vedanta, we call it Brahma. And then this consciousness, Aparinamini, that is something which does not undergo any change. Parinama means change. That is, I lose the present form and get into some other different form. So that is parinama. Parinama, like milk becoming a curd, that is a parinama. So like that, parinama, aparinamini, this is something which does not change. And what is it that changes in the entire creation? Prakriti parinama vadam. Sankhya, just if you go back to the metaphysical, or rather the understanding of the philosophical points which yoga says, this Purusha or consciousness, it is something which is totally unchanging. There is no change in that. Only in the Prakriti Parinamate, Prakriti Parinamavadam. Sankhya and Yoga, they accept Prakriti Parinamavadam. In that Prakriti, the very first evolute, Prakriter Mahan Mahato Ahankaraha. So like that Sankhya Karika, they say. So Prakriti, that Mahan, that first particular thing is that cosmic mind. So that is cosmic, that is the first evolute. So like that, Chiti, Prakriti is what evolves, or Prakriti is what undergoes Parinama, whereas consciousness does not undergo Parinama. Chiti Shakti Aparinamini. Then Aprati Sankrama. Sankramanam means moving. Sankranti, we say. Sankranti, what is Sankranti? Sun coming from one particular, from what is that? Some going beyond, above the tropic of Cancer or something. It is called Sankranti, we say. So like the Sankranti is movement, Sankramana. Here, Aprati Sankrama, there is no Sankramana, there is no movement. Movement is there only in something which is a finite object. Movement can be there. I am here and I can go out of the room and I can go somewhere else. There is Sankrama in me. Whereas when something in infinity, there is no Prati Sankrama. In consciousness, there is no movement, there is no consciousness, there is no change, there is no movement. And at the same time, Darshita Vishaya, Vishayaha Darshitaha Yena. That is, because Shakti is feminine, so we have to say Vishaya Darshita Yaya, we have to say, because it is feminine. Darshita Vishaya, that is, all Vishaya means object. Darshita Vishayaha, Sarve Vishayaha Darshitaha. That is, all objects are illumined by that. Like our Sandhyavandana mantra also says, Gayatri mantra also says, Dhiyo Dharmadi Gochara, it says, isn't it? That shloka. Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. So that is Darshita Vishaya. That is, all objects are illumined by that. Then Shuddha Cha. Shuddha means it is not affected by Raga, Dvesha, etc. Shuddha, like Brahma, is not affected by anything. So in fact, if you see these adjectives which are used for Chit Shakti here, They are the same adjectives which are used for Brahma in Vedanta. In Brahma, we see tadejati, tannaijati, taddure, tadvantike, almost something similar. And it is something which does not, and avikari, avyaya, akshaya, all those things are there. That is aparinamani, aparisankrama, darshita vishaya, that is illumines all objects. Because of that, the buddhi is able to cognize. Because of the reflection of consciousness on the mind, the buddhi, the mind is able to see, the mind is able to cognize. So that is how darshita vishaya. Then Shuddha, it is pure, it does not, by itself it does not undergo any change, it does not have the raga, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, etc. Then Ananta, Ananta is infinity. Ananta, same thing, Ananta, Vedanta also uses the same word, Ananta. Then the sentence is not yet over. Sometimes some editions, the sentence also is broken here. But even we can read without breaking it also. Sattvagunatmika chayam ato viparita viveka khyati riti. So this viveka khyati is something sattvagunatmika. He is again going back to that earlier line. This is sattva purushanyata khyati. He is going back to that line. What is this? What is the nature of this sattva purushanyata khyati? That is that viveka khyati as we call it. Viveka khyati. Viveka is discrimination, distinguishing, isn't it? Viveka is vichir prathak bhave. That is distinction. Viveka khyati means that knowledge of separation, the distinction. Sattva purushanyata khyati, that is distinction of sattva and purusha. So he is again coming back to the same word. Earlier he called it sattva purushanyata khyati. The same is viveka khyati. Viveka is distinction. So viveka khyati, what is the nature of that viveka khyati? After all, that is sattva gunatmika cha. Sattva gunatmika cha yam ato viparita. Yam ato viparita. So this, what is ato viparita means? Something distinct, something different from that. Vivek, it is something which is different from that viveka khyati. So he is again going back to Chiti Shakti and says, this Chiti Shakti is something which does not undergo any change, it has no movement in that, and it illumines all things, and it is pure, it is infinite, and it is something which is different from this viveka khyati. So that is the overall meaning of the sentence. So this consciousness is having all these qualities, and it is something ato viparita. This viparita is something distant, totally different from that. Viveka khyati is something which is different. Here, the words are slightly new because the Vedanta terminology is new, the way the yoga terminology is new. So sometimes we feel rather strange words we see. So Viveka khyati riti. Then is this line clear? I hope this line is clear. So this Chiti Shakti is something which is different from a Viveka Khyati. Because Viveka Khyati after all is at a lower level. Viveka Khyati is after all a Chitta Parinam. It is a change, it is a modification of the mind only. It is a Sattvika Vrukti. It is a modification of this mind due to this Sattva Guna. Then Ataha Atastasyam Viraktam Chittam Tamapi Khyatim Nirunadhi. Ataha, therefore, Tasyam viraktam chittam. Tasyam means in that viveka khyati also. Viveka khyati also you get virakti. Oh, viveka khyati is after all a lower level. I want to go to a higher level. So that is what the yogi thinks. Viveka viraktam. Tasyam viraktam chittam. Tam api khyatim nirunadhi. Khyati is a feminine word. So tam api khyatam. Tasyam viraktam. Tam api khyatim. That khyati is a feminine word. The feminine gender. So tamapi khyatim nirunadhi. So even that khyati, even that sattva purushanyata khyati also has to disappear. And then you have to remain as pure consciousness. So that is the final stage. Sattva purushanyata khyatim nirunadhi. Then tadavastham samskaropagam bhavati. Tadavastham what? Tadavastham chittam. That particular state of mind. Samskaropagam bhavati. Samskara. What is samskara? Samskara is every human interaction creates a sort of latent impression in the mind. So that impression is samskara. Every human interaction that creates an impression. Sometimes those impressions are strong. Sometimes they are very, very fleeting and ephemeral. They just go away. And so that is how it is. So this samskara, and a human being is a bundle of samskaras. Good, bad, and all types of samskaras, a bundle of samskaras, and Vedanta says, and also Yoga says, you have to remove all those bad samskaras and develop good samskaras. So, but here, sadavastham chittam, samskaropagam bhavati means The mind, all these what we call chitta vrittis, they disappear. But then only pure potential state it is available. The mind is just present in its potential state. That is, when the mind wakes up from that samadhi, that man should be able to recognize his wife and children. So that is the point. The wife, so samskara, that samskara, yes, that particular, in a potential level, it is existing. Otherwise, all other thoughts are removed. Because in yoga, what happens? In yoga, when the man wakes up from the samadhi, he again sees the world of plurality. That is the difference between yoga and Vedanta. In Vedanta, when you attain that nididhyasana level and when you say that Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati, he looks at the whole world as Brahman, manifestation of Brahman. But here, he looks at the world as a real entity. So that is the basic difference between yoga and Vedanta. That is the basic difference. So here, what does it, when the mind is in its samskaropagam bhavati. Samskara, it is in its potential state, some samskara level, it is just existing. Because it has to interact with the external world, and again the same equations come up. So all these things. So samskaropagam bhavati, sa nirbija samadhihi. So then that is what is called nirbija. Bija means seed. Nirbija means it doesn't again sprout up. It again it does not again sprout up. Nirbija samadhihi. Na tatra kinchit samprajñāyate. There is nothing. There is that object of illumination, object of analysis. Let us say object of analysis. That object on which you are contemplating, that is not there. Na kinchit samprajñāyate. Iti asamprajñātah. So in the samprajñāta, that object was remaining. That you were aware of certain things. But here you are just remaining as pure consciousness. So that is asamprajñātah. So dvividhas sayogaha chitta vritti nirodhaha iti. Dvividhas sayogaha. So that yoga is two levels. That is this yoga chitta vritti nirodhaha. So that chitta vritti nirodha is at two levels. One is a lower level, which is actually a necessary step for the second level. Samprajñāta samadhi is a necessary step for the higher level. Because this samprajñāta samadhi itself has to be achieved by some purification of mind. Without that purification of mind, even that level does not come. So that chitta, then thereafter, then you have to go to the next higher level called asamprajñāta. So dvividhaha sayogaha. So that two types, that yoga is of two types. If we have time, then we can move ahead. Tadavaste, there is now 53 minutes. Shall we stop here? I think.
Another 7 minutes we have, so we can go ahead.
Okay, then we'll see this also. Tadavaste chetasi vishaya bhavat buddhi bodhatma purushaha kim swabhavaha iti. Tadavaste chetasi. Chetasi means in that mind. Tadavaste chetasi, in that particular state, or in that state of asamprajñāta samadhi. Chetasi, in the mind. Tadavaste chetasi. Chetasi tadavaste sati. Yeah, that's sati saptami actually. Chetasi tadavaste sati. That also we can say. Then when that mind is in that particular state, Vishaya bhavat, there is no object. Usually knowledge is associated with an object. It is, when I say I have a particular knowledge, that knowledge is always about an object. But here, Vishaya bhavat, there is no Vishaya here. Then Buddhi bodhatma purushaha. Buddhi bodhatma, again is a peculiar coinage. Buddhi is chitam, Bodha is cognition. Pratibodha viditam matam, if you think about that Kenopanishad line, bodha is that cognition, whereas chitta vritti, buddhi bodha means buddhi vritti. Buddhi vritti atma. Buddhi bodhatma means buddhi vritti atma. What is that buddhi vritti atma? That consciousness which is reflecting in this, which is associated with this buddhi bodhatma, that consciousness which is associated with this buddhi, what happens to that purusha? Chetas is in a different state. Chetas is in a potential state. But what about buddhi? Chetas means that buddhi is in that potential state. It is there. But what about this consciousness? Purusha kim swabhavaha. What about the status of this purusha? Kim swabhavaha. What happens to that purusha, which was usually associated with this buddhi vritti? Then tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Tada, at the time, in that particular state where that distinction is very well established and the mind, that Chittam is totally withdrawn. Then what about Chittam when Chittam is totally withdrawn? Then the Purusha is totally Swarupe Avasthan. Drashtuhu Swarupe Avasthan. Drashta is what? The seer. Drashta is what we call seer. In fact, this Drashta again is the same word which we see in Vedanta. Nanyyotosti drashta, nanyyotosti manta, nanyyotosti vijnata, etc., etc. We see in Vedanta. Na anyataha asti drashta. Drashta is seer. Seer means not somebody who really sees. Again, seer is a peculiar formation, you see. It is only figuratively called seer. It is only illumining all things. It is like sunlight. Suppose you call the sunlight the seer. Sunlight is only enabling us to see. Sunlight is not seeing. But figuratively we say sunlight. Suryo yatha sarvalokasya chakshuhu. We say Surya is something. It is sarvalokasya chakshuhu, is seeing everything. It is not sunlight which is seeing, but the buddhi which is seeing. So like that, drashta, that is the drashta. Because it illumines all things. Swarupe avasthanam. That is, it remains as pure consciousness. Drashta, that is the Chaitanyam which was earlier associated with this buddhi. When the buddhi is withdrawn, then automatically, then that consciousness, it is remaining in its pure form. That consciousness which was earlier associated with this buddhi, it is remaining in its pure form. Buddhi bodhatma purushaha kim svabhavaha swarupe avasthanam. You see, swarupa pratishtha tadanim chiti shaktihi yatha kaivalye. Swarupa pratishtha, swarupe pratishthitam. That is in its own original state. In fact, there is no change in consciousness at any point of time. So that is what the second line says. Swarupa pratishtha tadanim chiti shaktihi yatha kaivalya. Like in the case of kaivalya. Kaivalya, again, there is a definition for that kaivalya. The very last sutra of the fourth pada. You see, we know that there are 4 chapters in Yogasutra. The very last sutra gives a definition of kaivalyam. That sutra is Purushartha Shunyanam Gunanam Pratiprasavaha Kaivalyam. I will explain it later. Right now it's not needed. That is, when all the gunas, they are totally withdrawn. Then that particular state where where Chittam is totally distinct and then mind, this consciousness is totally distinct, that is what is Kaivalyam. Kevalasya Bhava. So Chiti Shakti Yatha Kaivalye. The second line explains that Vyuthana Chittetu Sati Tathapi. Vyuthana Chittetu. Vyuthana means rising from that Samadhi state. When the person comes out of that Samadhi state, Vyuthana Sthiti it is called. Vyuthana Dasha. In that Vyuthana Dasha, what happens? Tathapi bhavanti na tatha. That means, even in this Vyuthana Dasha, consciousness is something which is not actually mixed up, but it looks as though we mix it up. That Chit Jada Granthi Vedanta calls. Chit Jada Granthi. They say Granthi Bhedam, sometimes we say. That Chit Jada Granthi, it is only a notion. It is only, Chit is never tied, but it is appearing to be tied. So that is what he says. Vyuthana Chittetu Sati. In that Vyuthana Dasha also, Tathapi Bhavanti. Though even in that Vyuthana Dasha, this consciousness is not at all tied down to Buddhi, not at all affected by Buddhi. It is looking as though it is affected. It is looking as though the Buddhi is intelligent. It is making that Buddhi appear as though that is intelligent. So this line, maybe I will explain tomorrow also, in the next class also, because this is an important point. Consciousness is something which never undergoes any change, but it is looking as though it is undergoing some change. Even in that Vyuthana Dasha, it is not undergoing any change. Whether it is Vyuthana Dasha or Samadhi Dasha, Chaitanyam is always separate. Buddhi only is undergoing some change. So that is what we see. We will see this particular line in the next class also, and move ahead with the next sutra. If you have any questions, we can take.
Sir, thank you very much. There are no questions, but there's one request from Padmavati ji. She's saying, Namaste, sir. I am a total novice to Sanskrit and Yoga Sutra. Could sir please summarize the meaning of each sutra after breaking up the Sanskrit meanings of individual lines?
Yes.
From next class onwards.
I'll do that. I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you.